Family TV.
Hi, I'm Bob Holland, and this is Read Me a Story. And today I'm going to read from my novel Summer on Kidd's Creek, which is the search for Captain Kidd's lost treasure. Chapter 1, Up Creek. Anyone less experienced would most likely have run aground, but Asa Clark knew the channels and side channels in Kidd's Creek as well as any fish. And as he sat in the stern, gripping the handle of the 15-horse motor, his eyes traced the darker edges of the main channel. Now and again he adjusted the flight of the trim 14-foot lapstrake skiff, but here in the middle part of the creek, with the tide still having a long way to run out, he ran with the engine wide open. The water was deep, 20 feet or better in the channel, and the creek ran wide as any river. He suppressed a grin as they came around the turn below the ledges, and he changed the angle of the bow ever so slightly. Ike, fair-haired with pale green eyes, a lean and wiry boy the same age at 14 as Asa, sat in the very front of the boat, his back cushioned by his life vest where he rested against the tapering inside point of the bow. Both boys wore vests. The Coast Guard required them, but more to the point their fathers required them, and getting caught without a vest meant losing the boat. And though they would rather have gone without them on a hot summer day, neither boy considered taking off his vest. On the water, you wore a life vest. Only fools thought otherwise, or so they had been taught since they first stepped into a boat. As they passed the ledges, Asa eased the boat toward the old white oak that grew on the edge of the right bank. 2 summers ago they had tied a rope to the limb that hung out over the creek, and once the tide reached its halfway point, the water was deep enough so they could swing out over the creek and let go. Usually the rope was tied to the trunk of the tree, but it must have come loose in the wind because now it dangled out over the water. Asa aimed the bow so the fat knot on the rope would conk Ike in the back of the head. Even at this speed it wouldn't hurt, but it would surprise him some, Asa thought, as he watched the rope come closer and closer. And then just as it was about to collide with his noggin, Ike ducked, and suddenly the rope hung right in front of Asa, and because he had expected a quite different result, he couldn't react fast enough to dodge, and it tunked him squarely in the forehead and knocked his sunglasses onto the floor of the boat. And then all he could do was laugh, along with Ike, who clearly thought he had never, no, not ever in his life, seen anything so comical. And finally, when he began to calm down enough to catch his breath, Asa called out over the drone of the motor, "How did you know when to duck, you creep?" "I knew you were up to something because you kept edging the boat toward shore. And then I remembered the rope, and I waited till I could see the reflection in those dumb mirror's sunglasses."